Hello everyone, and welcome back to English Talking today. I'm Emily.
And I'm Stefan. Today, we're talking about something that so many of you have asked us about, confidence. We've heard countless stories from people who've studied English for years, sometimes even a decade, but still feel frozen when it's time to speak.
That's right. I remember a friend of mine, let's call her Anna. She was brilliant. She knew grammar inside and out, and her writing was perfect. But whenever a native speaker talked to her, her mind just went blank. She'd freeze up, and all those years of study would just disappear. She'd get so frustrated and think, what's wrong with me?
It's such a common story, Emily. And that feeling of the mind going blank is exactly what we want to address today. We're going to challenge a lot of what you might have been taught about learning English. We believe that learning to speak English isn't about just memorizing grammar rules or lists of vocabulary. It's about building confidence and making speaking a natural habit.
Exactly. We're talking about a confidence-first approach. The traditional classroom model often puts a huge emphasis on correctness. You're afraid of making a mistake in front of your teacher or classmates, so you don't speak at all. But real life isn't a classroom. You need to create a safe space for yourself, a place where you can practice without fear of judgment, pressure, or feeling like you've failed.
And that brings us to the first section of our chat today, debunking the myths. We want to tackle some of the biggest ideas that hold people back from speaking.
Let's start with myth number 1, the talent myth. So many people think that speaking English well is some kind of special gift. They look at someone who is fluent and think, oh, they're just naturally good at languages.
Right. They think they weren't born with the language gene. But that's just not true. Speaking English is not a special talent. It's a skill. Just like learning to ride a bike or play a guitar, it's something anyone can develop. It doesn't matter your age, where you live, or what your job is. The key is consistent practice.
And that's a huge point. It's about effort, not innate ability. Now, what about myth number 2, the vocabulary myth? I hear this one all the time. I can't speak English because I don't know enough words.
This is a big one. People get stuck because they think they need to know 100,000 words before they can have a conversation. But that's a lie. Think about it. How many words do you really use in your native language on a daily basis? You don't use every word in the dictionary. You just need a small, useful set of words and, more importantly, phrases. You don't need a huge vocabulary to start connecting with people. You just need enough to express yourself and get your message across.
A perfect example is something as simple as I'm hungry. You don't need to know the word for ravenous or famished to get your point across. You just need those 2 simple words. And that leads us to myth number 3, the perfection myth. This is probably the biggest roadblock for most people. The idea that you have to speak perfectly to be understood.
This one is so destructive. People are terrified of making a mistake, of having the wrong grammar or using the wrong word. They view a mistake as a failure. But we need to reframe this completely. A mistake isn't a failure. It's an essential part of the learning process. Think about a baby learning to walk. They don't just stand up and start running. They fall down 100 times. Every time they fall, they learn something about balance, about their body. They don't stop walking because they fell. And you shouldn't stop speaking because you made a mistake.
That's a great analogy. It's the same with learning to ride a bike. You're going to wobble, you're going to fall, you might scrape your knee. But every mistake helps you get better. Progress is messy and imperfect. You just have to embrace that messiness.
Now, here's myth number 4, the time myth. This is where people say, I'm too busy. I don't have time to study English for 2 hours a day.
Yeah, They think they need to dedicate huge blocks of time to sit down with a textbook. But that's just not how language is learned in real life. We want you to think about how you can integrate English into your daily life. You don't need a lot of time. Even small, 10-minute bursts are incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. You can talk to yourself while you're cooking dinner. You can describe the vegetables you're chopping or the steps you're taking. You can repeat sentences you hear on a podcast during your commute. The key is consistency, not long study sessions.
And the last myth we want to tackle is myth number 5, the partner myth. People often say, I can't practice because I don't have a partner to speak with.
This is a really common one, and while it's great to have a partner, it's not a requirement. Self-practice is a powerful tool. You can talk to yourself, you can narrate your day, you can imagine a conversation. It might feel silly at first, but it's one of the best ways to get comfortable hearing your own voice in English and to build that muscle memory for speaking.
Exactly. Okay, so we've debunked the myths. Now let's move on to the core of our approach, the 5 pillars of a confidence-first practice. These are 5 simple, actionable strategies you can start using today.
Let's start with pillar 1, active listening and repetition. This is more than just hearing English. It's about actively listening to how people speak. You need to train your mouth and brain to work together.
So, here's how you do it. Find a short audio clip, maybe a snippet from a podcast, a movie, or a song. Listen to one sentence at a time. Then, pause and repeat it out loud. Don't just repeat the words. Try to copy the rhythm, the tone, and the sound of the speaker. This technique is called shadowing, and it's so powerful. It helps you get the feel of the language.
The second pillar is the daily speak out loud habit. This is the practical application of what we just talked about. The goal is to get comfortable with the sound of your own voice in English. You can do this in so many simple ways. Narrate your actions. For example, I am opening the refrigerator. I am taking out the milk. Now I'm pouring it into a glass.
You can also describe your surroundings. Look around the room you're in and describe the objects you see out loud. The chair is brown. There's a book on the table. The window is open. It feels a little weird at first, but it makes speaking a daily habit, not a special event.
And our third pillar is the phrase-based approach. We talked about this a little bit when we debunked the myths. Instead of learning individual words, learn full, useful phrases. It's much more efficient.
Absolutely. Think about what you need to say in a real-life situation. If you're going to order coffee, learn the phrase, "Can I get a coffee, please?" Not just the words coffee and please. If you're greeting someone, learn, "How's it going?" or "What have you been up to?" These are the phrases you'll actually use.
The fourth pillar is all about mindset, embracing imperfection. We already talked about this, but it's so important it deserves its own pillar. You have to let go of the fear of judgment.
This is where you need to be kind to yourself. When you make a mistake, don't get frustrated. See it as a learning opportunity. If you say something incorrectly, just try to correct it and move on. The person you're talking to will understand. They are not judging you. They're just happy you are trying.
And finally, our fifth pillar is connecting to the real world. Your goal is to move beyond practice and into real-life use. Find ways to engage with English that are fun and interesting for you.
So, if you love to cook, find an English-speaking cooking channel on YouTube. If you like video games, find an online community where people play and talk in English. The key is to connect with people and things you care about. English becomes a tool for something you already love to do.
And that brings us to the end of our conversation today. The secret to fluency isn't just knowing these tips, it's doing them consistently. Think of it like brushing your teeth. It's a small, daily habit that you do without thinking. Over time, these small habits build on each other and become automatic.
You are capable of speaking English. The journey is a marathon, not a race. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to start. The key is to keep going, to be kind to yourself, and to enjoy the process of unlocking your voice.
That's right. So, pick one of these pillars and start today. Just one small step.
Thank you for joining us on English Talking today. We'll see you next time.
Bye for now.